Okay, I'd like to show you a brief introduction to the BidAMI Authentication app. This app is used by the BidAMI administrators to assign items to be authenticated by the authenticators that work with BidAMI. The authenticators use this also to log in to perform their authentication on the items assigned to them. So let's start by logging in as an authenticator. There are already items assigned to him to authenticate. I'll show you how that works. So I am logged in as the 100% game use, which handles their game use authentication. Let's take a look at our dashboard. This is summary information. Basically, your statistics are the item status, items that are not authenticated or marked not authenticated, and when the authenticator either pass, fails, or marks an item inconclusive, there's an additional status called authenticating they may use if they want to indicate that it is a work in progress. They can mark it so if they come back to it, they'll know that they started the authentication but didn't complete it. When they are passed, failed, or inconclusive, when they have been put into these three statuses, the administrator would mark them as completed, indicating that it is done. We've accepted the conclusion, and they will get paid for the items that they have authenticated. Whether pass, failed, or inconclusive, they get paid by looking at the item. And this is the notes. Notes is basically any note that you would enter against the item. You can use this to communicate with the administrators, and they can also type in notes to communicate with you about particulars on the item they may want to point out. The authenticator to perform his authentication, he goes to his auth queue. The auth queue is filtered initially by items that need an auth, although you can remove these filters and show any of the items that you have authenticated. Although that list gets rather long, we start off with a filter. So initially you would come in and look at the items. And you can get the details. You can read about the item here. You can examine its pictures. And you can scroll through those. And take a look at any signatures, anything you need to look at. And once you've made your judgment, you can come in here and you can either pass, fail, or mark it inconclusive. Let's assume they pass this. They also have a printed flag. That is an indicator if they want to choose whether they printed these or not. That's not required, but you can only mark printed on past items. These would be the only items that you would print out your certificate or your letter of authenticity. There will be printouts for these. They'll be able to pull up a printout, which is custom to each authenticator, their letter. So let's mark it passed. And we'll go down here and we'll look at this item. And looks good to me. We'll pass this one. And we'll take a look at this one. And let's see. Well, let's say something I don't like about this. That signature doesn't look good to me. Well, I need additional information, so I'm going to mark this one as authenticating. I'll come back to that one and work on that one later. So, if we went over to our dashboard now, you would see that we have notes stating what we did. The most recent notes first. So we see that we moved this one from not authenticating. We changed the status on this date. This had a status change from not anything passed on this date. We can go back to our auth queue, and these notes are now here as well. But if you want to add a custom note, I wouldn't do it here, but as you can see, the past items have dropped off your queue. Not that they're not in your queue, they're just not ones you need to look at immediately. Because these are past, they are considered completed. Although you can bring those up if you want. As you can see, we can see those here. And reset the filter, you can just click here and that resets it just to items that are authenticated or are not authenticating. So once you move them to another status, they drop off. But it just drops off the filter. It doesn't mean it drops off the list. You can always take a look at those and make any corrections. But this is basically your active queue. So I believe that pretty much covers what the Authenticator can do. And as you can see, his statistics here show how many are in each bucket. And that's about it for the Auth side. We do have to add the ability to print the certificate out to the Auth cube. But when that is done, this would be completed as far as the authentication side. So that's a brief overview of the authentication side. We will log in as the admin and show you what the admin can do in this application. But this little tour just covered what the authenticators do when they log into the system.